फर्जंदे ज़हरा ये हालात बुरे हैं।
काशाना-ए-बसीरत एक ऐसा मुकम्मल यूट्यूब चैनल जिस पर महरूम बसारत के लिए बिलखुसूस और तमाम अफराद के लिए बिलमूम सैकड़ों की तादाद में इस्लामी कुतुब दस्तयाब हैं। लिहाजा गुजारिश है कि आप अपनी जिम्मेदारी निभाते हुए काशाना-ए-बसीरत को सब्सक्राइब करने के साथ साथ बेल आइकॉन को प्रेस कीजिए ताकि आप इल्म के हुसूल के साथ साथ मजहब अहले बैत की इशाअत में भी अहम किरदार अदा करते रहें। काशाना-ए-बसीरत
फर्जंदे ज़हरा ये हालात बुरे हैं।
12, page number 110. However, to condemn us for having different beliefs and that all our groups follow what has been narrated from its respective Imam, he has taken this method from the Brahma because they ridicule Islam in exactly the same way. As for Imamat, may Allah give you felicity. It is proved for us through text of appointment, in bracket is Nas, apparent excellence, knowledge, along with this duties related to hearing and through his needless of analogy and personal deduction regarding the practical law. We have known about the imamat of every imam only through this. Very soon we shall present a satisfactory explanation regarding differences among Shias. After that, the author says their difference is either from their personal side or it is from the narrators of traditions or from their imams. Thus, if this difference is from their imams, we shall say that an imam is one that unites all people on a matter, not that he should cause dissension in the ummah, especially when his followers are less in number against their enemies and there is no guarantee that each of them is safe from the other. What is the difference between the Imamiya sect and other sects when, in spite of being with the Imams and divine proofs, it is having more defects than those who have no Imam? While the fact is that they are much behind the Imamiya in differences in religion and in making accusation of infidelity towards each other. However, if these differences are from the side of those who have brought the religion to them, in bracket is narrators of traditions, what is the guarantee of the correctness of this imamat, which has reached them through such people? Especially one especially when one for whom imamat is claimed is such that his existence is absent and his person is not seen. Also, he is the divine proof and is having the knowledge of the unseen. Thus, when his best associates who are intermediaries between and his followers are liars and they attribute falsehood to him, how can the one who is having the knowledge of the unseen is unaware of this? The third possibility is that this difference in the religion of Mut'ama is from their own side and not from the side of their imams. Thus, what is the need of imams for mut'ama when they themselves are needless and accomplished in knowledge and their imam is behind them, who does not restrain them in anything, even though he is the interpreter of religion and divine proof? It is the best proof that he is non existent, and if he is there, he is not having the knowledge of unseen that they claim. Because if they had been present, there would have not been any scope of him not explaining the divine laws for their Shias, as Allah the Mighty and Sublime has said. The translation is, and we have not revealed to you the book except that you may take clear to them that about which they differ. Thus, as the Prophet explained to his Ummah, it is also obligatory for the Imam to explain to his Shias. So I say, relying the Almighty Allah, the difference between Imamiya is from those liars who, like in every period of time, entered their folds till the problem became serious. The elders of Shias were pious, striving, and they referred to the righteous people. They never had personal views and could not discriminate. That is why they accepted traditions from and trusted even those who had concealed their identity. When this went on increasing and the reality became known to the people, they complained to their imams about it. So the imam ordered them to take those traditions and narrations that are accepted by all. But they did not do so and continued in their previous attitude. Thus, betrayal was from their side and not from their imams. The imam did not become aware of the false and true traditions that had got mixed, as they were not having the knowledge of the unseen in bracket is except what Allah informed them. He was a righteous slave to Allah, having knowledge of the book and Sunnah, and among the traditions of Shias, he becomes familiar only with those that reach him. As for his saying, then what is it that could keep them safe? Such is their way in the matter of imamat also. We shall say there is a difference between the two, as imamat has reached them through widely related traditions, that is tawatur, and there is no falsehood in tawatur. Also, the fact is that traditions about matter other imamat are mostly solitary reports, and solitary reports do not create certainty. Solitary reports can sometimes be true and sometimes false, which is not so in case of tawatur. This is our reply, and whatever more is said about it would be invalid and unreliable. Then we would object. Can the difference of Ummah be devoid of the divisions that he has mentioned? If he replies in the negative, we shall say, was the Prophet not sent to unite everyone? He would definitely say yes. He will be asked, did Allah the Mighty and Sublime not say? And the translation of Quranic verse is, and we have not revealed to you the book except that you may make clear to them what that about which they differ. Again, he will reply positively. Then he will be asked, did he make clear? He will indeed agree to it. Thus, he will be asked, then tell us what the reason for differences is and satisfy us. As for his statement that thus, what is the need of Imams for mutama when they themselves are needless and accomplished in knowledge and their Imam is behind them? One does not restrain them in anything. As reply, he will be told that justice is the best thing for the people of religion. What statement have we made that shows that we are needless in ourselves? The author should tell us through what evidence he is making such an allegation against us. In fact, when one who confronts without knowing who is he confronting, he is assailed by questions and answers. However, his saying that this is the best argument that he is not present, because if he had been present, he would have mentioned the facts to end differences among his Shias. As Allah the Mighty and Sublime has said, the translation of verse is, and when we have not revealed to you the book except that you may make clear to them that about which they differ. The author will be told, tell us about the guiding progeny of the Prophet. It is possible for them that they do not explain the complete truth for the Ummah. If he say yes, he is argued against himself and it can create trouble for him. Because in spite of that, the Ummah has differed and groups opposed to each other have appeared, some of which have accused other of infidelity. If he says no, he will be told, this the best proof that the progeny is not present, and this will also prove the invalidity of Zaidiya's claim, because the progeny, as Zaidiya say, had it been present, it would have definitely narrated the truth to the Ummah, and there would have been no scope for them to remain silent, as Allah the Mighty and Sublime has said. Translation is, and we have not revealed to you book except that you may make clear them about which they differ. If he claims that the progeny has narrated the truth for the Ummah, but the Ummah did not accept it being inclined to selfish desires, he will be told that the same applies to what he has said about the Imamiya sect. Their Imams and their Shias and beliefs, and good sense is sought from Almighty Allah. Then the author says they will be asked why their Imam is hiding from the people. If they say, for safety of his life, then those who follow him should also be allowed to observe dissimulation regarding the pursuit of Imam, especially when the followers is in hope and fear and had no knowledge about his Imam. If dissimulation is allowed for Imam, it will be first permitted for the public. What has happened to the Imam that he observed dissimulation for his followers and hiding fearing for his life? Whereas he does not practice any dissimulation in consuming their wealth. The Almighty Allah has said, follow him who does not ask you for reward. And he said, the translation is, most surely many of the doctors of law and the monks, in bracket is of Jews and Christians, eat away the property of men falsely and turn them from Allah away. This proves this proves that the followers of falsehood are in pursuit of material wealth, while those who are attached to the book do not ask for any recompense from the people, and only they are the guided. Then he say, if they say something else, we shall reply to that also. Thus they will say only what a deficient ignorant says. The reply for this objection is as follows. Indeed, the Imam has not gone into concealment from his followers who seek his guidance. He is hiding from the enemies to survive. As for his saying that if dissimulation, that is taqiyya, is allowed for Imam, it will be first permitted for the public. He will be told, if you mean that the follower is allowed to save himself and flee for his life as it is allowed for the Imam, I would say that by Allah it is allowed. If, however, you mean that it is allowed to the followers not to remain a believer in the Imamat of an Imam because he is supposed to observe dissimulation, then such a thing is not allowed when the traditions tell him the same thing. Because an authentic report is as good as seeing with one's eyes, and there is no dissimulation for conscience. Except for Allah, no one knows what one believes in. As for his statement that what has happened to the Imam that he observes dissimulation, that is taqiyya, from his followers and hides fearing for his life, whereas he does not practice any dissimulation in consuming their wealth. The Almighty Allah has said, translation of this verse is, follow him who does not ask you for reward. This can be replied as follows. Imam is not in dissimulation, that is taqiyya, in guiding the people. How can it be so when he has narrated the truth for them and called them towards it, when he has made them inclined to follow the rules of the Sharia, so that they became famous for this only and began to be recognized as such. They do not consume people's wealth, they only take the khums, that is one fifth part, that Allah has made obligatory on the people so that it may be utilized in the proper manner that Allah has also specified. It was the Holy Prophets who announced the law of khums, and the Holy Quran has also mentioned it as follows. Translation is, and know that whatever thing you gain, a fifth of it for Allah. The fifth of it is for Allah and for the apostle and for the near of kin and the orphans and the needy and the wayfarer. The Almighty Allah also said, take alms out of their property. Hence, if there is anything wrong in collecting money, it is when one does not own his own without any divine command. Help is sought it from Allah. The author will be asked, tell us when your Imam reappears, whether he will collect homes or not. Would he collect land tax and some share in war booty or not? If he says no, it would mean that his Imam has opposed the Islamic command. If he says yes, he will be asked that if someone were to object to them on the basis of the verse. Translation is, follow them who does not ask you for reward. And the next translation of verse is, most surely many of the doctors of law and the monks, in bracket is of Jews and Christian, What reply would you offer so that you can wait for the some reply from the Imamiya sect? May Allah bestow you good sense, that is tawfiq. It is something through which the atheists and infidels ridicule the Muslims, and I don't know who has kept them in this misunderstanding. Know that may Allah give you the knowledge of righteousness and make you eligible for it. One should act only based on the book and the sunnah, and they should not be opposed. Hence, if your opponents can prove that what we have taken is against the book and sunnah, I swear by my life that the opponent's argument is right. But if it is not possible for them to do this, they should know that there is nothing wrong in acting in accordance with the book of Allah and sunnah, as is very much clear. Now the author says, they shall be told, we do not consider imamat valid for one who cannot be recognized. Therefore, is there any way through which the recognition of your imam can be obtained, whose imamat you claim? So that we may also consider imamat valid and possible for him, like we consider for those from the ummah who are present. If you cannot do so, there is nothing which can permit imamat for people who are absent, and all those who are not present are absent. Hence, the one for whom you claim the imamat is proved as one for whom imamat is invalid. So I say, I seek Allah's help. The author shall be asked, do you have any doubt in the existence of Ali bin Hussain and his descendants whom we considered as imams? Hence, if he say no, we shall say, is it then permissible for them to be imams? If he say yes, we will say that perhaps you don't know that we are right in believing in their imamat, and maybe you are wrong. And this is enough to exhaust the argument on you. If he say no, we will say, then what is the use of proving the existence of our imam? While you are not admitting to the imamat of Ali bin Hussein alayhi salam, when their fame in knowledge and excellence is agreed to by both and friends and foes alike. Then he would be told, we recognize these personalities from the progeny, from the traditions that was mentioned. These personages are familiar with the interpretation of Quran and the laws of religion. Apart from this, we are in need of such personalities who may impart the knowledge of the meaning of Quran and clarify the differences between the commands of Allah and the instigations of Satan. Then we came to know that among of the descendants of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the truth is with this group, because we have not seen that from the progeny whoever is opposed to their opinion when he explains the divine law of or interprets the Quran, he does so in the method of scholars of Ahl Sunnah do. That is, they follow personal opinions and analogy in deriving the laws of the Sunnah, which the Almighty Allah wants them to follow without questioning, as it is only for their well being. Through this, we came to know that those opponents are on falsehood. Apart from this, whatever we have learnt from a pure proof from the progeny regarding the lawful and prohibited and divine laws, such things have never come to us from one another person. After that, each Imam issued appointment text, that is Nas, in traditions for his successor till the matter reached to Imam Hassan bin Ali Askari alayhi salam. When he passed away and no text became known to us and we could not find who the successor was after him, we refer to the books of our predecessors. In those books, they had narrated about the occultation of Imam even at that time. Hence, whatever we found in those books showed what the matter shall be with the successors of Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam. Is it that he shall remain concealed from the people and there shall be discord among the Shias? People will be confused about him. So we came to know that since our predecessors did not have the knowledge of the unseen, therefore only our Imams must have informed them about all these matters through the traditions of Holy Prophet. In this way, the Imam's existence and occultation was proved for us to reveal to the level of certainty. Thus, if it at this point there is some evidence that can prove our claims wrong, we ask Zaidiya to bring it out, because we have no enmity with truth. And thanks be to Allah. Then the author objected to us that with the claim that is used by those who stop at the imamat of Musa ibn Jafar to prove their rightfulness. We have not stopped at the imamat of anyone, and we inquire about the differences between all those sects who have stopped at the imamat for one or the other imam. We have stated before that we are sure that Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam has passed away, just as we came to know that Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam has passed away, and if one doubts in the passing away of one of them, one automatically begins to doubt in the demise of the others also. The fact is that the group which stopped at the imamat of Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam denied the rightfulness of the group that stopped at the imamat of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. In the same way, they rejected the belief of the sect that they had stopped at the imamat of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. Thus, we shall tell them that our argument to prove the falsity of a belief is the same that you use to prove the invalidity of the beliefs of your opponent sect. So you can only tell us that what argument you will present against yourself. After quoting us, you said that we had been telling the Waqfiya sect that Imam is the only one who is present and apparent. Now, this is like the statement of one who is not familiar with the statements and beliefs of his opponent. The Imamiya sect has always believed that Imam is one who is either apparent or hidden. Their traditions are so famous in this regard that they are all known to all. To fabricate belief on behalf of the opponents is something that anyone can do, but a religious and a learned person cannot do this. In this regard, even if we did not have any other report except that one narrated from Kumail ibn Zaid, it would have been sufficient for us. Then he say, if they say this will be replied in the same manner, it is that in which we do not believe, and our argument is what you heard, and it is sufficient praise to Allah. Then he says, as you are of the opinion that Imamat is for Bani Hashim because the Holy Prophet has indicated his progeny to his Ummah, and both of us have agreement on this. The progeny is from his special relatives, and no one is nearer to them in relationship. Therefore, Imamat is for them and not for the descendants of those who were given reprieve on the day of the conquest of Makkah. Also, from the progeny, only one person will be eligible because there can be only one imam, so that he may be necessary with the book of Allah, and he remains with it and invites us towards the establishment of commands of the book because the messenger of Allah has guided us to them, saying, doubtlessly they can never separate from the book till they arrive to me at the pool. And there is consensus upon this, and you have brought Bani Hashim by way of argument. You should remember that they are the offspring in bracket is zuriyat of messenger of Allah, even though they might not have been born because the children of all women are related to their father except the children of Fatima, and the children of Fatima are related to the messenger of Allah. While the meaning of offspring means zuriyat is children, because Allah the mighty and the sublime has said, and the translation is, and I commend her and her offsprings into the protection from the excurred shaitan. I say, I seek the refuge of Allah. This belief is not correct according to our consensus. Its correctness is possible only through manifest evidence, that is, Burhan. So you tell us what is your proof of the correctness of your claim. Apart from this, our agreement is only regarding that three personalities of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Hassan and Hussain alayhi salam, and the Messenger of Allah never mentioned offspring anywhere. He has only mentioned his itra, that is progeny. Hence you were inclined some from the progeny and abandoned others without having any manifest proof. We have supported our argument with the help of traditions narrated through our predecessors till their report reached to the point that Hussain bin Ali alayhi salam has issued text for the imamat of his son Ali bin al-Hussain alayhi salam, and Ali in bracket is Zainul Abidin issued Nas for his son Muhammad Baqir, and Muhammad Baqir did it for his son Jafar Sadiq, and then we proved that only the imamat of these personages is rightful and the claim of anyone else is not valid because it was made clear to us that only these personages would impart knowledge of religion and only they possessed excellence and superiority. Obtaining knowledge from them, only their friends and enemies conveyed this matter to every corner of the world, and all this is well known to the narrators of traditions. Only knowledge is that element through which the divine proof can be recognized, and the difference between divine proof and others is known. Through it, the imamat is identified, and the difference between imam, that is leader, and masoom, follower, is realized. So, O people of Zaydiyah sect, what happened to the proof of your claim? After this, the author says, thus, if Imamat had been lawful for all Bani Hashim, in addition to Hassan and Hussain alayhi salam, it would have been lawful for the descendants of Abd Manaf also. And if, in addition to Bani Hashim, it had been lawful for the descendants of Abd Manaf, it would have been lawful for the descendants of Qusay. And if you take this matter further, it would give a very bad result. In reply to this, it will be said, O one who is arguing on behalf of the Zaydiyah sect, this imamat is not something that one becomes eligible for it on the basis of close relationship. The criteria of the eligibility is excellence and knowledge that is proved through clear traditions and Sharia. Thus, if imamat had become lawful for one from the progeny who was nearest in relationship because of his relationship, it would have become lawful also for those who are distantly related. So, you tell us about the difference between yourself and the belief of those who are making such claims. You present your proof and tell us what is the difference between you and one who says if imamat is lawful for the descendants of Hassan alayhi salam, it should be lawful for the descendants of Jafar also. And if it is lawful for the descendants of Jafar alayhi salam, it should be lawful for the descendants of Abbas, Prophet's uncle. Too. Now, it is not at all possible for the Zaydiyah sect to mention any of these differences, but he turns to a belief, and it is that every imam inform about the imam after him through clear traditional reports and textual appointment. And the succeeding imam should become clear to the people through his knowledge about the lawful and prohibited aspects. Then he says, if those people ask us about the reason for the imamat of Ali alayhi salam and ask what you say about Ali alayhi salam, he was from the progeny or not, they would be told he will not from the progeny, but he is superior to the progeny and all other relatives because the traditional report of the Ghadir day and the text of appointment regarding which there is unanimity is enough to prove his imamat. We have supported our argument with the help of traditions narrated through our predecessors till their report reached to the point that Hussain bin Ali alayhi salam has issued text for the imamat of his son Ali bin al Hussain alayhi salam, and Zainul Abidin alayhi salam issued nas for his son Muhammad Baqir, and Muhammad Baqir did it for his son Jafar Sadiq. And then we proved that only the imamat of these personages is rightful and the claim of anyone who is not valid because it was made clear to us that only those personages could impart knowledge of religion and only they possessed excellence and superiority. Obtaining knowledge from them, only their friends and enemies conveyed this matter to every corner of the world, and all this is well known to the narrators of traditions. Only knowledge is that element through which the divine proof can be recognized, and the differences between divine proof and others is known. Through it, the Imam is identified, and the differences between Imam, leader, and Masoom, that is, follower, is realized. So, O people of Zaydiyah sect, what happened to the proof of your claim? After this, the author says, thus, if Imamat had been lawful for all Bani Hashim in addition to Hassan and Hussain alayhi salam, it would have been lawful for the descendants of Abd Manaf also. If in addition to Bani Hashim it had been lawful for the descendants of Abd Manaf, it would also have been lawful for the descendants of Qusay, and if you take this matter further, it would give a very bad result. In reply to this, it will be said, oh, one who is arguing on behalf of the Zaydiyah sect, this imamat is not something that one becomes eligible for it on the basis of close relationship. The criteria of its eligibility is excellence and knowledge that is proved through clear traditions in Sharia. Thus, if imamat had become lawful for one from the progeny who was nearest in relationship because of his relationship, it would have become lawful also for those who are instantly related. So, you tell us about the difference between yourself and the belief of those who are making such claims. You present your proof and tell us what is the difference between you and one who says that if imamat is lawful for the descendants of Hassan alayhi salam, it should be lawful for the descendants of Jafar also. And if it is lawful for the descendants of Jafar alayhi salam, it should be lawful for the descendants of Abbas, Prophet's uncle too. Now it is not possible for Zaydiyah sect to mention any of these differences, but he turns to our belief that it is the belief, and it is that every imam inform about the imam after him through clear traditional reports and textual appointment, and the succeeding imam should become clear to the people through his knowledge about the lawful and the prohibited aspects. Then he say, if these people ask us about the reason for the imamat and ask what you say about Ali alayhi salam, he was from the progeny or not, they would be told he was not from the progeny, but he is superior to the progeny and other relatives, because the traditional report of Ghadir Day and the appointment regarding which there is unanimity is enough to prove his imamat. Seeking help from Allah, I reply the author would be told narration, reports, and appointment text about the Ghadir Day are absolutely correct. However, your denial about that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is not included in the circle of progeny is very serious matter. We challenge you to give a proof to support your claim. The fact is that scholars of lexicon consider the uncle and the descendants of uncle in the progeny of man. Another thing is that through this you have subjected your belief and religion to doubt, because having the belief that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was among those whom the Prophet had left among his ummah, and in this regard he says the Holy Prophet has left the book of his progeny among the people, but now he says that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is not included in the progeny. This implies that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is beyond the circle of two that the Messenger of Allah had left for his ummah. And as you can see, both these statements contradict each other. There is only one possibility that he can say that this tradition of Messenger of Allah implies that he has spoken about leaving the progeny after the martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Then we would ask him what reply he would offer to one that says that the Holy Prophet left book also at that same time after the martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'mineen, because he had left the book and the progeny together, and the report also says that same thing, and the favor is only from Allah. Then the author has turned his attention to that which goes against him when he says, and we ask those who admit of imamat of some among the progeny and not for others, for furnish evidence for the veracity of their claim, whereas the fact is that this person has also restricted the imamat to the descendants of Hassan and Hussain alayhi salam, and does not consider other from the progeny to be having a share in it. After that he says, thus, if they present absurd matters like the incidents of knowledge of the unseen and such nonsense that do not have any reality, and it is only a claim, such claims can be presented for others as well. So, if the claims is itself the evidence, the progeny will be included among those who oppress their souls. The author will be told, "You are talking too much about progeny, and except for Allah, no one knows the unseen. If anyone from human beings claim it, he is a polytheist and an infidel. We have told you and your associates that what we claim, the proof of that is only knowledge and understanding. If you have something like that, you may show it, and if not, ridiculing and making allegations is something that any extremists can do against everybody. And only Allah is sufficient for us, and He is the best support." After that, the author says, now we turn to explain the argument of Zaidiya that they present under the support of the following statement of Allah, the Mighty and the High. Translation is, "Then we gave the book of an inheritance to those whom we chose from among our servants." He will be told, "So we accept that this verse we revealed for the progeny. But how do you prove that only the descendants of Hassan and Hussain alayhis salam are those who take precedence in good deeds, and others from the progeny do not fit this description? We know that you only want to ridicule your opponents, while the fact is that you are claiming the same thing about which you condemned your opponents." Then he says, Allah the Mighty and Sublime addressed all general as well as special people of Ummah for his Prophet and said, "And hold fast by the covenant of Allah altogether."